The world is full of influencers. Some set out to become one, while others just changed the world and found the spotlight. This is their story.
Welcome to The Accidental Influencer, brought to you by WYLD, the world's first social currency payment card, and powered by Wild Drum, a new low-cal, guilt-free alcoholic beverage. I'm Rij Eappen, luxury lifestyle influencer and co-founder at WYLD, and on this show, I talk to some of the most inspiring people in India who went on to become leaders in their domain, but in the process blew up on social media. Our guest today is a multi-faceted powerhouse and a trailblazer in the world of entertainment, where she started her journey as an MC and then made the switch to acting and worked with some of the biggest stars in Indian cinema. But it was a breakout role as Cuckoo in the critically acclaimed and internationally recognized web series Sacred Games that catapulted her to stardom and left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of audiences everywhere. She's a walking, talking ray of sunshine and positivity, witty and unapologetically real, which shines through in her new book titled Open Book, Not Quite a Memoir, which released less than a year ago. A staunch advocate for gender equality and LGBTQIA+ rights, she has used her voice and platform to raise awareness and create change. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredibly tenacious Kubbra Sait. Hi, Kubbra. I'm so happy you're here.
Oh man, thank you. Thank you so much. You've been so patient with me.
No, that's something that I really wanted to do. I've been patient with you till now because I was 100% sure I wanted to get you on the show because you
you knew I will show up.
100%. No. Because you're the perfect example of the accidental influencer, as we like to call our show.
Oh, thank you. It's such a great name.
Yeah.
I don't know if, really you put in so much thought to become an influencer, because that's
Not
something I
everybody
never
does.
understood. I remember when I started my career many years ago, for me, my ultimate game or my ultimate goal in life was to become an endorser.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What did that entail?
Like the face of, like, say, a toothpaste.
Right.
Because I have such a great smile.
Right.
You know, that,
okay,
so I
that
always
makes sense.
thought like endorser was the end game. And then somewhere in between, I have no idea how those, chips fell.
Yeah.
And there was this new word.
Correct.
That was all of a sudden like emerging and getting a lot of fortitude, which was the word influencer.
Correct.
So in fact, I am still understanding what it takes to be an influencer.
Right.
Because I thought famous रहेगा तो लोग बात सुनेंगे.
Correct.
But now it's like इतना numbers है.
Yeah.
तो बात सुनेंगे.
No, in fact, it was even better. Until recently, you were right. Until a few years ago, the whole idea of influence was very binary, right? If you were either a politician or a movie star,
or a sports person,
or an industrialist, or rich enough to buy yourself influence,
or like a social activist who's actually on the ground doing some work.
Correct.
And then you're like, oh, good. If I had something that I was truly,
correct.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Like we all need to have a sense of purpose.
Absolutely.
That drives us.
Sure.
It cannot be like, मैंने इसका देखा, उसका देखा. यार ऐसे भी थोड़ा कर लेते हैं. You need to be so true to your core and your calling. And I guess at some point,
it pans out.
Miracles happen. And then all of a sudden people are like, you're an influencer or what?
Yeah. No, but it's also because your authentic voice comes out, and everybody has a voice. Every single person. And it's that voice that people resonate with, and not necessarily trends and whatever. It's how you do a trend or how you say what you have to say.
True.
And that segues beautifully into what I wanted to say is congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
It's almost a year, right?
Almost a year.
Surreal, no?
Yeah, it was.
That was your voice.
That was my voice. I think when I started writing Open Book, it's funny because I always felt I had a name before the book itself.
Did you? Okay.
I did. And I was very, very sure that there is so much strength that one can gather by just being authentic.
Yeah.
By being true to yourself, understanding how things panned out in your life, shaped you.
Sure.
And it's good. It's good to take a step back, look at life and be like,
Right.
This is what happened. At that time, it seemed tough because no matter how strong, no matter how brave, no matter how, I mean, you can be like a freaking gladiator.
Sure.
But it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. When you're in the situation, it's tough. And you feel it's going to be really hard to get through it.
Right.
But somehow I've realized I've always gotten through it.
Right.
And when I was able to express that genuinely, not just with like, हाँ ये मेरे साथ हुआ, but more like, मैंने यहाँ से ये सीखा.
Yeah.
When I was able to like decipher that, when I was able to decipher the learnings from it, I felt I had grown as a human being. And it helped me. But the beauty was, I was never alone in this journey.
Right.
There were so many people around me.
Yeah.
So far away, disconnected, in different disjointed parts of the world, coming together to see, this is also a part of my story.
Right.
I've also gone through abuse. I also didn't know what I had to do when I went through an abortion.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like empowered, when I had no family to speak to. And then you're like, oh, wow.
There are others like me.
There are and that just made
empowers
me
you
stronger.
Yeah.
And then they felt they had a voice and representation. And funnily, me being at the end of being the influencer, felt like I had a voice and representation because I wasn't alone.
Correct.
Anymore. And I guess that's how communities are formed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And and from the book, there's so many things. I have to say, I so enjoyed reading the book, and I coursed that this weekend,
I'm
I
sorry.
absolutely
I put so
loved
much
it.
pressure on you.
No, not at all. I loved it. But I'm so glad I did before we had this chat, because it gave me such a beautiful insight into not just your life and your journey, but into your mind, and that was great, right? Because one of the things that stood out is there was a willingness to be vulnerable for the world to see, scars and all, everything, right? And that was beautiful, but was that the intention when you wrote the book, or was this like, I have a book in me and I want to put this out? What was it?
Wow, no one's ever asked me that question. Actually, wow. No, I think I started writing it because I had these incidents that would just appear.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, if something's surfacing with so much energy, then maybe it just needs to be given more thought and it needs to be fleshed out.
Right.
So then there was, like any incident that happens into our life has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Sure.
So I really needed to understand, where did that start from?
Right.
How did it pan out? And then what did it leave me with?
Right.
So when I started writing incidents, it was really incidents.
Right.
But then I could not hold that responsible to be like, oh, this is what shaped me.
Right.
So then I had to go and understand who were the people involved, what was my mindset at that point,
Right.
Who was I as a person.
Yeah.
So I think what happened at the end of every chapter or the book as a whole was catharsis for me. It felt cathartic because now I felt I didn't have the luggage of these stories that I needed to carry along with.
Right.
I said, oh, good. The baggage is off.
Right.
And now everything that I do in the future is going to be from the mindset of what have I learned already.
Right.
So it took some time to recognize that everything happens in a cycle.
Right.
If you don't break the chain, if you don't break that cycle, it could be toxicity, it could be addiction, it could be indulgence, it could be anything. It could be you tormenting your own self. It could be your self-limiting beliefs. It could be anything. That cycle can be broken, but it takes a little bit of awareness and acceptance to say, haan yaar.
Yeah, I have these.
True, there were things around me that didn't work out, but how could I have broken the chain?
Right.
And when I chose to, I think I was able to now move forward and be like, whatever's happening next, I'm going to deal with it differently.
Right.
Whether that was my interaction with human beings, whether it was me showing up in certain places, whether it was how I wanted to invest my money, whether it was how I wanted to learn things. Everything turned to kind of shift.
Right.
And it was a new shift. So now I was just learning from, and I think it's true, right? You can be your greatest teacher. You just need to allow yourself, because life is happening for you. So you may as well learn and move on. And that's what happened.
Yeah, and life is happening around you as well, right? For you, I mean, for like, I think it's lovely how you put those into words, but you had so many different experiences along your journey. But how do you pick the ones that have, I'm assuming you put the best, kind of
the worst.
Best of the worst, because that's what teaches you. You never learn anything major from the best things that happen in your life.
Sometimes you do. Like, for
but
example, like when Farah happened in Foundation, it was a very big high for me. What did I learn in the process?
Yeah.
I did realize, like, for example, not being confident enough on a world stage.
Right.
So how do I own my own?
Right.
And be there and show up, because 1 second, guys, this is my job.
Right.
No one here in this set is doing me a favor. Like, I wrote about how Daniel McPherson, who was my co-actor on set, he looked at me and he said, I need you to come back to me at the end of this job and tell me you were born to play Farah.
Right.
Because you were. You were not, like, handed this out.
Right.
You worked your way up to this job.
Yeah.
And someone saw something that you didn't see in you.
Right.
Now you've been given this job, you've given this opportunity, you do your best, and you will see it translate into that one moment when you know for sure,
I knew I was meant to do this.
This was
written for me.
No one else could have done this.
Right.
It was me.
Right.
Sometimes we don't even accept the great things that happen to us.
Right.
Like, I've said this in such simple ways for so many people. Like, I've seen this more often than not with women, but you go and tell them, oh my God, you're looking great today. What is this? I'm just
yeah.
There is so much grace in saying thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is actually about, recognizing the greatest things that you embody and you channel. You put that effort to pick that dress, someone compliments you. For God's sake, say thank you.
It is so true.
Right?
That is so right. Because, Anupam said, Anupam Mittal was on my show, and he said this perfectly. He said, you know what, we've come from so many years of scarcity, or generations of scarcity, right? And so we are taught that there's a massive nobility in humility. And he was like, there isn't. Honestly, if someone says that's great, say thank you, accept it instead of saying, oh no, I mean this whole thing. I mean, absolutely, I agree with you. That is so true. Yeah, totally.
So no, I don't think learnings need to come out of being into the dumpster and you not having like days of like not eating and not having opportunities. And I understand it's hard. I've gone through it, But if I keep harping on that, how am I making way for the goodness in my life?
Sure. Yeah. No, I agree. That is so true. I love that. Well,
Camera rolling?
I love that. So, I've known you maybe like 6-7 years now, right?
Yeah.
And, what has always stood out for me about you is, you walk into this room and you light up the room simply because of the way you are, your positive vibe and everything. I remember when we were first introduced, I remember saying, hi, I'm Rij, and you were like, hi, and you gave me this big hug, like we'd known each other for decades, and I was like, dude, that's actually pretty cool because, not many people do that. And it actually, it shines through. Your positivity, your radiance always shines through. And I love that. And in your book, you said that you were this gregarious personality when you were young, but you lost that spark at some point, right? How did you bring it back? Because when I met you, you brought it back. And how? How did you bring it back?
I think independence does that to you.
Yeah.
Like when you're nurtured or protected to the extent that you can't find your wings, it's almost equivalent to having them cut off.
Right.
When you're told like, no, you do this, and then you will fall.
Yeah. Or saying curb your enthusiasm.
Yeah, curb your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
When that happens to you over and over again, you feel like, oh no, I am really not good enough. I do need like more than me to take care of me.
Right.
And I guess there was, of course, a lot of fundamental like growth that was put into me. I went to a summer camp that changed my life.
Yeah.
I went to Buoyancy. Ajit Uncle and Sadhna Auntie groomed me and made me confident to be on stage and talk to strangers, right? So I had this connection with strangers because I always felt, who's going to judge you?
Right, sure.
It also allowed me to kind of channel my own authentic voice.
Right.
But for a very long time, I tried to be that, hey, look at me, look at me. So then it didn't come out authentically. So I was always the last guy to laugh because then I would be hurt. And I wrote about that in the book. It was very unsettling.
That was you then, yeah.
Yeah, because I realized that I was laughing too loud so that everyone turns and looks at me.
Right.
You
You're
know?
doing it for the wrong reasons, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, and then I didn't think it was wrong.
Right.
Because I was just trying to like be noticed.
Yeah.
And I guess at some point when I started spending a lot of time by myself. So I have lived out of my house, out of my home now since 2005. So that's about 18 years. Close to 2 decades of actually like building your own space, learning how to spend time with your own self, not having to seek validation all around you. I think that does make small but important shifts in your life.
Sure, absolutely.
And I guess that's what really happened. And then I was like, oh, I could show up in a room and then be comfortable with myself.
Right.
And the more and more comfortable I became, the more real my joy was.
Right.
It was not fabricated.
Sure.
It wasn't
forced, or it wasn't for a reason.
Especially in the world that you and I live in, which is so morbidly social.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
We need to be out there and show up. And today I choose to watch my day.
Right.
I will not do more than I can take.
Right.
And I also know that if I say I'm doing something, you do not have to ask me again.
Right.
You do not need to are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
You don't need to ask me that. And that could be like going to meet someone at dinner.
Right.
If someone is probably emotionally a few notches like low, and I say, hey, I'll come to you and I'll bring you food.
Yeah.
Or physically for that matter. Are you sure?
Yeah. You don't have to ask that.
You don't. I will show up.
Right.
Because I will never say something now
that you don't mean.
If I don't mean it.
Right.
I will not. I would do my best, and I think I've learned this again from our common friend. I've learned this from our common friend Sarvesh.
Okay.
Sarvu says, I won't lie. If I woke up late and I'm late for a meeting, I woke up late. I'm late for my meeting.
Right.
I'm not saying I got stuck in traffic.
Right.
So yeah, I think now I've like chosen, I will do little things that are kind to me so that I can actually channel that kindness out to, outwards.
Right.
There's no point in killing yourself.
Sure.
There's no point in overcommitting. There's no point in what is
trying to fight off
who
more
are
than
you trying to prove this to?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the authenticity lies. So today, if I cannot deliver, like for example, I had to go for a movie screening today. I know that after I finish this, I do not have the steam to go and attend that and then say hi to 10 people.
Yeah.
I'd much rather not show up.
Right.
And excuse myself, which I did.
Yeah.
I wrote the person who invited me, I sent her a message and said, may I take a rain check today because I cannot make it.
Right.
It is much better that I say no than to show up but
and be half-assed
authentically and then make a fuss about it.
Sure.
And then be like, oh, I have a headache today and I have this. Because to be honest, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah. That is so true.
In the most cutthroat way, everybody's got shit they're dealing with.
Yeah.
So if I have had like a terrible day, nobody gives a flying rat's ass.
Yeah.
Let me be honest with myself.
Yeah.
And that helps me.
Right.
Because otherwise I'm channeling everything through other people's expectations. I'll show up this way, they'll be like this, then I'll be like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is who I am, this is how I feel. I'll show up when I'm 100%.
Right. And then you bring your A game and you're there. You're all there.
Yeah.
And you're not half-assed about it.
And this is even on social media. This is even, like for example, being actors, you have so many emotions to channel in a day. If a day's shoot is 12 hours, then in one scene, because we don't shoot linear, right? So we're shooting according to
what's convenient.
Locations.
Locations.
So in that location, I'm making love. In that location, I'm crying. In that location, I'm breaking down. In that location, I'm apologizing. In that location, I'm celebrating.
So there's a range of emotions.
In one day. हो गया मेरा. अब जिंदा life में नहीं करना.
Right.
Life में I want to be authentic because that's my job.
Right.
So that's what I do.
But that is such an amazing thing you said, and I am so absolutely guilty of doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but it's so true.
I
It is
was like,
such an
I thought you
eye-opener.
were saying, oh, I do that too. I'm like, oh.
No, I don't. I'm terrible.
That's what
I will actually go, and for me, I like to support people that I work with and people that I worked with that work with me on a regular basis, or their friends, or someone says, bro, please come. And I do that, but I also do that on days when I'm absolutely shattered and I just don't have it in me, but I will show up. And then, and you know what happens. And then you have to get into the whole spirit of thing, and then you have to get a lot of, alcohol in you to actually get into it. And then
that's when you need a social lubricant.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we've had this discussion.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Because we've been in a social gathering where you weren't drinking and there was
exactly.
And we both were having a whale of a time.
Absolutely.
While everyone else was relying on I need to have another drink now, you will feel better. No, but I am feeling best. Why do I want to feel better?
Absolutely. I agree. No, but I think, that's something I need to keep in mind as well, that I don't necessarily always need to show up.
You're welcome.
Yes, I truly thank you, because I need to learn that. I really need to learn that.
Anna kabhi haveli pe. I'll give you more tips.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a lot of these gems. You've got another book in you, you know that, right?
Oh God, yes. I think writing the book was the easiest. Selling it is the hardest. Yeah, I'm literally like, Rich, buy the book.
Yeah, but like you said, you've laid your burden down, so it's out there. But you also said life is the inception of many realities.
I said that?
You said that.
Who am I, Christopher Nolan?
I thought that was brilliant. All right, it is so true. Life is the inception of many realities, and you've had a lot of realities and a lot of reality checks, right? So, can you set some context for everybody watching and listening? What some of those realities were and what some of those reality checks were. There was good, there's bad, and there was ugly. But if your life was, an inception of many of your realities, what were some of the reality checks that actually got you to a point where you said, you know what, there's so much learning here, I need to put this down?
I have this one incident, which I think kind of sums up that, but I'm sure there are many incidents.
Right.
So the one thing that I speak about was being bullied in school.
Yeah.
So I was being bullied by my class students, but they were also being enabled by the teachers.
Sure.
I don't think every child that goes to a 40, 50 member class or even a 12, 15, whatever today your fancy education allows you to have, with lots of money, there's a lot of money for education today. Oh my God,
it's crazy.
Oh, I'm bleeding thinking of how parents are working so hard to educate their children. It was so much easier for my parents today, back in the day. But I think it's really hard for everyone to be game and be smart. And the idea of education is to make you stronger where you're weak.
Sure.
And I don't think when I was in school, my teachers were coming with that mindset.
Right.
Not all of them, at least. So I got bullied in class 4, then I got bullied in class 6, then I was bullied in pre-university.
Right,
and not really bullied, but I had lost my shine by this point, And anybody who had a stronger voice than me, anyone who would be more authoritative than me would have the power over me.
Right.
So then I was not being allowed to be me.
Right.
So I had to be smaller. I had to be smaller.
Contain yourself.
Just be that person. Or, how does it matter? Na sorry bol ke nikal jao is situation. Se kya fark padta hai? So for example, I didn't know why I was saying sorry. So many times. I didn't know why I was saying sorry.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was hosting this event in Maldives.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the story. Yeah.
And when I went to Maldives, there was this really weird event happening. It was a wedding event.
Yeah.
And the lady who was the host of the party walked up to me from business class to economy, and then she said, it's my son's second marriage, and and I'm just like, yeah, love finds itself in strange places.
Yeah.
What do you say? There needs to be something to
What
make
does she
this
say?
woman feel
Exactly.
better.
Yeah.
And she says, no, you know, we've put you all like the performers on a boat.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to stay on a boat.
Yeah.
The only vessel you'll find me is this one.
Yeah.
So they were very angry with
Yeah.
me. How can she stand up and ask for what is right?
Yeah.
She's artist. Let her act like artist. उसको स्टार बनने की जरूरत नहीं है. Yeah, artist है.
Yeah.
So I said, ठीक है, artist है तो artist है. Plane में डालो, वापस चले जाएगा. दूसरा artist को बुला लेना. So then they said, नहीं, आप now too late.
Yeah.
Because already plane
का
खर्चा कर दिया ना. ठीक है. So then they made arrangements. And they gave me a suite to stay in. Yaar, that's
begrudgingly.
Begrudgingly, and I was also staying in it begrudgingly because it was new to me.
Sure.
Because I had not
stood up for yourself until that point.
Yeah, until this point. Really, like professionally speaking.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you've been asked.
Of course, always, stay subdued,
Yeah. So I didn't say anything the first time. So even I was very uncomfortable and I have this big room, bathtub in the middle of the room.
Rain shower.
Yeah, taking like 10 showers. Infinity pool. Fuck knows what's happening. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I get ready. I have to go host the Sangeet. And there are like a very interesting mix of people.
Yeah.
Everyone's way elder than I.
Right.
And prolific and bureaucratic in certain ways and things like that.
Yeah.
So they already wear a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, of course.
Got an artist.
Yeah, of course.
Know?
Yeah.
And there was this one not so gentleman who was drinking, sipping champagne behind me while I was focused on stage watching these girls perform for this audience. I mean, everybody makes choices and your choice is your own. So to get my attention, this man threw champagne on my back.
Yeah.
I turned around, I looked at this guy, and I said, if you try this stunt one more time, I will break this glass and shove it up your ass. And it's not allowed.
Badass, I love it.
It's not allowed. You don't say things like that to a very close member of your client.
Right.
But no, you
say
do
that
not
to
own
anybody.
me.
Absolutely.
You do not go out of lines to speak to someone with disrespect. I value me, so I tell you I value me.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of leads into this whole, life is an inception of many realities. Because if I choose to believe that I do not have a voice, I cannot stand up for myself, people will treat me the way they want to treat me, then I'm never going to grow. And my reality will continue to be the same.
Yeah.
If I want to make a change, then I need to choose to be the change.
Sure.
And I know Mahatma Gandhi said it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But imagine, we read all of this. Forget that. We're scrolling through this on Instagram the whole time.
And it's what you said, right? You're not supposed to do that. And this has been the narrative always, that you're not supposed to talk back to
You're a girl.
this
Keep
thing.
quiet.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No. And that narrative has to change, right? And somebody has to start standing up and saying, I will shove this up your ass if you do this again. And everybody needs to say that. So there's no I'm supposed to anymore. Yeah. If you disrespect me, I will do what I have to do to protect myself.
It was really interesting, right? I think that adult man wanted to cry a little bit. But he was not supposed to.
Right. Of course he wasn't supposed to. So he can't, because grown men don't cry. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I think we're all stuck in our own little mythical circles and we're supposed to be a certain way. And that's the narrative. I don't think so
it's not
anymore.
Yeah.
And it's helped me. Does that make me abrasive? But that's the way you choose to look at it.
Exactly.
Am I happy?
Yeah.
Am I content with this life? Because I was born alone. I'm going to die alone.
Right.
So let me just live the best version of me.
Sure.
And when we keep updating our phone software all the time,
why not upgrade
why
yourself?
can't we upgrade ourselves all the time?
Well said. I agree. I agree. No, but it's true also because if that guy had a daughter and this happened to her, what would he tell her? Like, he wouldn't say, let it go. I mean, it's fine. And No, he wouldn't. So then why is it? Yeah, exactly. Then it's personal, right?
And I honestly believe that you are your own personal cause. Completely. No one's fighting for you.
Yeah. You got to fight your own battles. Yeah, totally. And then Cuckoo happened. Cuckoo was a role that changed your life.
100%. I remember struggling, Rij, for a very long time.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like this person who was recognized as an actor.
Yeah.
Why? Because everybody else thought I should be an actor.
Right. No, but wait, did you not want to?
I don't
like,
know. I
you
really
kind of
didn't
thought of it,
know.
right?
I thought I wanted to come to Bombay and be famous. It was simple.
Oh, it didn't matter how.
Like, doesn't matter how.
right,
अच्छा कर लेंगे ना, कुछ काम ही करना है ना.
हाँ, correct.
काम कर लेंगे, लोग जानेंगे, पहचानेंगे, अच्छा हो जाएगा.
Yeah.
But again, talking about the inception of many realities,
Yeah.
I could tell the difference between being popular and famous.
Yeah.
And I knew I was walking the line of popularity for a very long time, that I got exhausted of it. So I said, now it's time to step over to the other side.
Right.
But every time you're trying to make a shift, right, it's very like hot in your belly.
Yeah.
And you feel like, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing... That is literally the garbage in your head, like the incoherent blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's actually happening.
Yeah.
So I was looking for opportunities, going auditioning and doing all these things. And it takes effort.
100%,
like carry
sure.
that bag and I was someone who had acted with Salman Khan on
everyone.
2 films up until this point.
Yeah.
But I was never an actor.
Right.
And I didn't care if anybody else told me that or not.
Right.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I had done nothing there in those 2 films for me to have a chip on my shoulder to say I'm an actor.
Right.
I'm very grateful to every single human being who says, you're made the na, tum ready mein.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I read that.
I'm very grateful to those people who today recognize me.
Right.
But if I hadn't moved on and done things, then I would have always been the maid and ready.
Sure.
And like, for example, we were just having this conversation. He said, I'm a very big fan from like Sacred Games Cuckoo. And my reaction, which was very genuine, was, "Nahi, don't worry, I'll give you more chances to be proud."
Yeah.
So I also want to like evolve.
Right.
And I also want to do things. But coming to this audition, apparently it was a closed room.
Yeah.
But there was Ankur Tiwari and there was Zoya Akhtar and there was Anurag Kashyap. And Anurag Kashyap being Anurag Kashyap was just sharing his search.
Okay.
And he was not able to find someone to play Cuckoo. And he was pretty sure a woman will do justice to this character.
Right.
And they had auditioned people for 6 to 8 months.
Oh, wow, really?
From everywhere.
Okay.
And they hadn't found someone.
Right.
And I think Ankur was, which is why I call Ankur Tiwari my godfather. He hates it. But I keep saying it because I love it.
Of course. Yeah. Okay.
And he's our friend. So we should embarrass him.
Exactly. 100%.
And we should call him for this interview and we should ask him again.
Right. What do you feel?
What do you feel? So without meandering too far, he suggested my name to Anurag, and then I was called in for an audition. I blew that audition.
I know,
the
I read
first
that.
one. It was horrible.
Right.
Because I was being stereotypical transgender.
Right.
What you've seen on television, what you've seen in films.
Yeah.
I had no access.
Right.
Or
the caricaturish kind of.
Caricaturish. It was horrible.
Right.
I was so disapproving of my own self. And you know when you've done a shit audition, by the way.
I've never done auditions though.
Okay, so when you've done an audition, you know it's shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, when it's a good audition and you go back home and even then you don't get the part.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right, yeah, that's fine.
But now you've taped yourself in the worst possible way and now that is staying for
that's
posterity.
out there, exactly. Now that is out there and now you're like, how do I kill that?
How do I kill that? When am I ever going to get another chance to do a better audition?
Yeah.
So this audition was terrible.
Right.
So I went home, slept. I find sleep. It's the best thing.
Right.
I recover with sleep. So I went and slept. And then about, I think 3 or 4 days later, I got a message while I was watching a movie. And it said, "Hi, I'm Anurag." I said, "Sup, Anurag?" I didn't know it was Kashyap. Now too late to go back and call him. So that's what happened. Then he called me, asked me to audition again. This one I knew.
You were going to nail it.
This I did well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there was a lot of like dance rehearsals, costume styling, and you think it's a long period of time, but no. I was called in for the audition on the 24th and I was shooting on the 30th.
Oh, wow, really?
In 6 days.
Okay.
It's 6. That's
really?
how crucial it was to cast Cuckoo.
Okay. That quickly.
And that's how that character was written in my destiny.
Right.
And don't question destiny. When it's happening,
100%.
allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Allow it to happen. And also for like those who don't know, the big revelation scene was shot on the first day.
Yeah, I know. I read that part where you in fact, that was so moving. Where you said that each time you would kneel on the floor and be bawling your eyes out, and that was extremely moving. That was, and you could see. I mean, that those scenes were special. I mean, that last scene was special. It was, yeah.
And he took me and threw me straight in the deep end. And tu actor hai. Kya?
Nobody told me.
Main anchor hai. What are you
Nobody told me.
I'm good evening, ladies and gents.
Exactly.
But no, I think it takes a very forgiving, a very gentle, and a very kind soul to be a teacher.
Right.
And I think I was listening to this podcast recently by Jay Shetty. I think it's from his book, The 8 Rules of Love.
Yeah.
And he said that 1, a teacher appears when you're really seeking a teacher. And 2, a teacher doesn't hurry you up.
Right.
A teacher matches
Your
the student's pace.
Right.
So I felt Anurag matched my pace.
Your pace.
And then that turned out to be this iconic character that is definitely right now going to, at this point in time, it's going to outlive me. I'll do great things.
Right.
There's nothing stopping me.
Yeah.
But if there is something that is going to be synonymous to Kubbra, it'll be Cuckoo.
Right.
And I think it's a great privilege and an incredible honor.
And I mean, for you, that must. I mean, I'm sure you hoped that it would become this way, right?
I hope everything will become this way. I think even this is blowing up. I am this person, guys.
Right.
I am this person.
Right.
I believe everything that I do needs to be numero uno.
Right, okay.
That is me.
Right.
Every holiday of for me, outcome always is like there.
Yeah.
For everything is fireworks for me. At least I set out with that intention.
Right.
So sometimes your rocket bomb also
Sure,
goes and goes.
of course. Yeah,
Who cares?
absolutely. No, but it's not just about the success part of it, right? I mean, obviously, your role was, like you said, it's going to be etched in, those characters in cinema or in whatever medium of the arts. Yeah. Some characters and some roles will always stay, for forever. But did you expect this kind of outpouring of love? That was incredible because everywhere you turned, it was about Cuckoo and Kubbra and Cuckoo and that whole connection. Did you ever expect that outpouring of love?
We were talking about the
I know we were. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You remember we were talking about that? I came from a small mindset.
Yeah.
I've been this child who's been bullied. There is still a part of me that will validate that.
Sure.
And I remember being that person.
Right.
But it was Anurag who told me on the day of the premiere. He said, 6th of July, 6 p.m., the world will know your name.
Right.
He believed in me. He made me believe in me. And he told this. He called it. He was a soothsayer.
Right.
He called it. And I had no reason to doubt a genius like him. But I did.
Right.
But when it happened,
you're like, damn.
Shut up. This is that reality.
Right.
He spoke about this.
Yeah.
He told me this a week ago.
Right. That's incredible.
He told me this
the
day, there's this dancing scene. I've not spoken about this. This is so exciting.
Yeah.
So there was this whole dancing scene where, Gaitonde kidnaps Mureski. For Isa at this point, right?
Yeah.
And that whole shot is in slow-mo.
Right.
And I'm dancing, and I'm a shit dancer, by the way. I'm doing this, and I'm dancing. And he's looking at this in slow-mo, and there's no music to it, nothing. And I went biting my nails, I went to him, and he said, "Phod diya tune, chal."
Really? What? Wow, really? Is that what he said?
Go. Very good, very good. Go.
Really?
See, I think you really need, a teacher.
Right.
And you need a guru, and you need a friend.
Yeah.
Like Anurag.
Right.
Sometimes. That helps.
It helps a lot, I'm sure.
It does.
But by the way, she's not a shit dancer. I have videos to prove it.
I
Dirty
dance
Martini.
like a person
I've got tons of great videos.
No, but you remember?
Yeah.
No,
You remember?
I'll tell you what. No, I remember.
You remember where?
No, do we remember? Hey, one second, Backstreet Boys.
Oh my God,
Special mention to Backstreet Boys.
My God,
got nothing to do with anything right now.
Yeah.
But I've always said this. I think I come from Bangalore.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of funeral processions in the south of India.
Okay.
And everyone's like throwing flowers.
Yeah.
And everyone's rejoicing.
Yeah.
The person's soul who's departed, right? Everyone's like dancing and raging. I dance like that person. I'm that person in that, in the crowd. I'm that guy. You can't tell me go 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't do 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right, okay. Fair enough.
I can't be Shazib.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that I get. Okay. So you got to be like in that moment and then get down and... Like,
get down and get dirty.
I didn't want to say that, but okay.
That's who I am. That's how I dance.
Okay,
I don't
fair
dance
enough.
like Parveen Babi. That was my reference. Are you kidding me? I am not Parveen Babi.
It was the 70s. She was big. What do you do?
I'm KS. I'm not PB. No happening.
That's hilarious. I get that. I feel that. But one of the things that I read that really kind of threw me, to be honest, in the book, is you said that the day or the week that Sacred Games was releasing or had released, you had pre-planned a diving holiday to the Maldives to get away from the adulation and the outpouring and the phone calls and the messages and whatever, right? Wasn't this the culmination of everything you wanted for so long? Why did you want to get away?
I didn't know if I could handle it.
Whether was that self-doubt or was that you saying, I don't know if I can handle the outpouring of love because it might be overwhelming? What part was it?
Interesting question. So it was a bit of both, right?
Yeah.
One, I didn't believe Anurag.
Clearly no. Okay.
So I'm like, agar nahi hua, at least I'm on holiday.
I'm underwater now.
I can literally jaake doob jao.
Right, okay.
So that was one way of looking at it.
Okay.
But two, in the given case that this actually happened, Anurag's words did come true, I still wanted to be prepared. I still wanted to be me when I came back. Because I know now that this has blown out of the stratosphere, people are willing to meet me.
Right.
People are willing to give me their time.
Right.
But I wanted to be my best version.
Right.
To give them the energy that they needed at that point.
Right.
We've had this conversation, Rich, before this interview, right?
Yeah.
We get asked the same questions over and over again. Yeah. I've never done it in my life. It was the first time that in the potential being that it would happen, I would have to go through.
Right.
Was I prepared for it? No.
No.
So I wanted to go away and prepare myself for what was going to come.
But how did you prepare yourself? Like, for instance,
I used to sleep. I used to sleep at 8 o'clock.
Right.
Even today, my diving team, like my entire diving group, makes fun of me.
Right.
Because everybody would be out. Like for them, it's a holiday.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
For me, it was focus.
Right. Okay.
So I would sleep at 8:30, 8:45.
Yeah.
And wake up at like 5:36. Have my coffee, prepare my dive kit, dive, come back, eat lunch.
Dive again. Yeah.
Again.
You were on a liverboard?
We weren't on a liverboard. We used to go
back into
the water and then come back. So we used to like return by about 3:30 from both our dives.
Couple of dives,
Sunset, watch sunset, eat dinner.
Pack up.
Good night. Everybody's like, Rij, I'm on a holiday. I'm like, no, my preparation chal raha hai. So I have learned how to conserve energy. Yeah. And I don't know how it happened to me. I don't know what was that turning point.
Right.
But I think it was like, no, I need to do this for me.
Right.
And I think I only understood that one day in an interview like this, you would ask me this question.
Yeah.
Because when I was doing it at that time, I had no idea.
Right. What to expect.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think I was able to maintain the longevity of my energy through Cuckoo because I conserved myself back then.
Sure.
If I hadn't, then I would have been burning at both ends.
But it's interesting, wouldn't you? I mean, I would have thought that, at that point where, there is a, let's say 50% chance that you blew up and the other 50% is you don't believe Anurag Kashyap. Wouldn't you want to be there to take it all in while it was happening?
I did, eventually.
Yeah, I mean,
just have to
at
show
that
up
point,
in my
because,
time.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's interesting because I would assume that most people would want to. I mean, I'm just thinking from my own perspective.
But then, can you imagine you're sitting in this anticipation?
Yeah, sure. That's true. And that's not fun. And that's not fun.
That's not fun.
That's not fun. Yeah.
So here I was like chilling on a hammer.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
And diving is the most peaceful and the most amazing thing you can ever do.
Yeah.
I always tell people that diving is probably the most.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, it's
Why have you not
therapeutic.
gone diving? I didn't know you were a diver.
I dive. I've gone with Reshma and all together.
Okay.
100%. 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
It's on camera
I'm a diver.
now.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we should do.
But I do remember, as I was leaving Maldives, I wrote about this one incident where I was sitting.
Yeah. At this bar, and when you met someone, that was it. You know who it is now?
No.
Oh, you still don't know?
No.
Okay. Well, tell them a story then.
It's such a great story.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Given any other day, you would think, that's not an important story.
Yeah.
But then it comes out in the book.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no, wait, that was an important moment.
Yeah.
That incident alone cannot become the book.
Yeah.
But without that incident, this isn't a book.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
So I remember all the chickens went back to the airport and I said, I want one day on my own. And by the way, I do this a lot. I do this even now when I went to Turkey with all my friends.
Right.
I took one day for myself.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I took this one afternoon by myself.
Yeah.
I went and I said, I am going to get drunk.
Right.
Because also the island that we were on is a local island where we had no alcohol.
Oh, right, okay.
So we weren't drinking or anything. They were all like sober days on the island. So I went to this licensed island, which was a resort, to get drunk.
Yeah.
So I'm going to celebrate.
Right.
I will celebrate on my own.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in this pool bar.
Yeah.
I was drinking. I must have been about 3-4 espresso martinis down. And that is when I started making phone calls.
Right.
So obviously I called X, Y, Z,
Sure.
but I called Anurag Kashyap.
Right.
I'm so famous. All this love on digital media, social media. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to do.
I can totally picture this. I can totally picture
was
this moment.
weeping. He's like, "Tu shanti rakhegi? Are you fine? Do you have someone?" No. I am all alone.
On an island.
In beautiful Maldives. He's like, ठीक है, तू वापस चल फिर बात करते हैं. So that's when this absolute stranger walked up to me from the other end of the bar and said, by the sound of what they were speaking and saying, I understand you're someone famous.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I'm famous. So he said, do you know that I'm an artist and a sculptor, and I have my glass sculptures in like museums around the world.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And I said, okay. And he says, but nobody knows me.
Right.
And you should never rely on who you are as a human being for your work to speak for you. Always let your work speak for you.
Right.
And then just like that, like some random freaking mirage, whatever, like, when you're too drunk, you think he left. But before he left, by the way...
Was he a figment of your imagination?
No, he was real because I put my head in his hairy chest and I cried.
Oh, really?
I snorted and all like that. Thank you for helping me. You are famous, I'm famous too. No one knows you, no one knows me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then he left.
Right.
He left. And then I have no idea who that person was.
Yeah.
I was really inebriated.
Yeah.
But I did make it back to the flight and I did come back home safe in one piece.
To fame.
To fame. Akima. The day I was going to Maldives, my PR at that point had said, Naini, you can't go.
Yeah.
You have to get papped.
I would assume that's what your publicist...
No, you go, but you have to get papped.
Oh, right. Oh, God. Airport looks. How do you miss that?
Yeah, I still wear chadi, banyan, that only I wear. But anyway, I went And my brother was dropping me to the airport, and it was really funny because he's like, "Ye bhi hota hai kya?" And then he was taking pictures of them, taking pictures of me, and that was a really funny incident that happened. But I was overwhelmed just getting into the airport, and I ran into Vicky Kaushal.
Oh, really? Okay.
At the airport. And I have this thing, when I take a international flight, I eat a burger.
Right. Okay.
So I bought a burger, I turned around, there was Vicky Kaushal. So I walked up to him and I said, "Oh my God." And I didn't even talk to him. I went and hugged him.
Right.
So he said, "Arey yaar, who's this?" He thought some crazy fan.
Yeah.
I said, "No, fan and all that stuff." Wait 1 second, we both are Anurag's babies.
Yeah. Oh, right.
So
yeah,
now
of
we're
course.
connected.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to hug you. This is how it's supposed to happen in reality.
Right.
So he looked and said, "Arey, tu, kaisi hai?" And I said, "I'm fine, yeah." Now what happened outside? You know, this Paps and all, they took photos. So many people, they took pictures with me and all. So he looked at me and he said, "जिस दिन pictures, photos, selfies लेना बंद करेंगे ना, तब problem शुरू होगी. अभी तो अच्छी problem है. Keep it."
It's a good problem.
It's a good problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You
See
still,
how many things happen when you're aware of things that are happening.
Yeah. And how did you handle it at that time, the fame? But did you love it like all the time? Were you like early on it was easy, right? Because it was something that you wanted.
Yeah.
Not, the adulation, the fame, and the recognition was amazing. Over time, how is it now? Do you still love it? Is it tiresome at times?
It's tiresome at times.
I can imagine.
Yeah. This happened to me recently. I went to Lucknow for a shoot.
Yeah.
So I said, "I'll go watch a movie."
Yeah.
And this guy walked to me and said, "Up,
Yeah.
IPL."
What?
नहीं IPL. आप कुछ तो करते हैं. I said, "Correct, boss. कुछ तो करते हैं, इसीलिए थोड़ा पैसा कमाए पिक्चर देखने हैं."
Right.
So then he said, "Photo." I said, "क्यों? मैं हूँ कौन?
Yeah.
क्यों लेना चाहते हो?" He looked at me with confidence and said, "Am I?"
Oh, wow.
So this happens, boss.
That's amazing.
It happens.
That's amazing.
I am for public consumption. I said no. Some people thought it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I'm me. I do
Of course
not
you don't
care.
say no.
No.
You don't.
I
you
do
don't.
what I want to do. I
Yeah.
said no.
Yeah.
And I left. I watched the movie and I came back home.
Right.
You don't say, "Am I?"
Of course.
What the heck?
Of course.
You know better. If you don't know better, you learn better.
Right.
अरे लाइफ में थोड़ा बहुत कीमा भाव तगड़ी होना चाहिए ना.
You nailed it.
We got it.
You got it. The Accidental Influencer is presented by WYLD, a Visa-powered payment card that allows anyone with as little as 1,000 followers on Instagram to encash their influence with every purchase. It's as simple as buy, post, and earn. This show is powered by Wild Drum, India's first hard seltzer brand, a low-cal, vegan, and gluten-free alcoholic beverage. We're shooting at the gorgeous Koi Bar at the Penthouse at the St. Regis, Mumbai, our venue partner for the Accidental Influencer. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and share it, and subscribe to our channel for more on the Accidental Influencer, and follow at getwild.in on Instagram to know more about WYLD. I will see you in the next episode.
WYLD.